Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. It's Bookmark here, represented by only two of us, a small group of bookmarkies, but a strong one. My name is Dilyana Deneva, and together with me is Teddy Rafailova. Hi, Teddy.
Hi.
This is the second edition of Ask Us Anything about LinkedIn for 2026. And we're going, as usual, to answer all your questions you have about LinkedIn, whether it's for your profile or your company, no matter what is of interest to you. Feel free to ask your question in the comments. Um, we are also going to speak about some topics that are of interest to us and that we have prepared for you. But feel free to interrupt us, as I said, with questions. We also have a question from the last edition in January, but we're going to um, reach it just in a few minutes. Teddy, how are you? This is your first joining of Ask Us this year. How does
Yes,
it feel?
I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be with you because it even though we've been partners in Bookmark for I will say a lot of years. Recently, with the expansion of our team, we rarely get to do something just the two of us, work-wise. I mean, as we did in the old days when at the beginning of the agency. So I'm happy to do this with you. I had an amazing sabbatical. I had some rest during December, end of December, beginning of January. That really filled me with a lot of sun, a lot of positivity, and a lot of knowledge. So I'm keen to be able to again share it.
Wasn't sabbatical a whole year? Did that month felt like a year for you?
Yes, because I was away from you guys, and I missed you, and I missed talking about the things that really drive us to learn more. So yeah, it was a long time.
Thanks, that was very kind. I hope it's fully honest. I'm joking. Okay, let's dive into our topics today because there is actually a lot to speak about, although this year we try to be shorter and more concise. But there is an interesting report. I think you are keen on reports that LinkedIn is preparing. So tell us what stand out for you in the latest one.
Yeah, LinkedIn reports they have always interest both me and our team. We also have our own reports that we make about LinkedIn in Bulgaria that are very helpful to companies. We have one now as of a couple of days ago. But LinkedIn reports are something that is very interesting in a way that it shares insight. This particular one was about the evolution of B2B marketing landscape. Now, this is something that is interesting to read for us because there's a lot of important data that we as marketers we can tap into the latest shifts. We can advise better uh, our partners, our clients. Most importantly, recently it has been a focus of mine to look for more data as we are in the process of creating a lot of new strategies for onboarding our partners, advising a lot more companies. So, everything that we say as marketers, we need to back up by data. Now, I have to be honest with you that some of the outlines that we saw on the latest LinkedIn report about the B2B landscape and the trends, they weren't really revelations for me and for our team. I know this because they have been things that we've been saying for quite some time. And I felt very vindicated in a way where we can see that we were on the right path, and it was just confirmed. For example, Something that stood up in the LinkedIn reporting the trends in B2B was that people are looking for more human connection in B2B and information from experts in the industry. Now, according to LinkedIn data, thought leadership is the best way to imbue trust in the B2B buying process, with 75% of decision makers thinking that this is a better way to communicate and to get to know a company than raw data. Now, again, this is something that we have been saying for many years as thought leadership, and being able to communicate with real people who have real stories to tell is incredibly important. And yeah, I really feel that now, as LinkedIn is outlining this yet again as a trend in the B2B market, many people will start to trust in the process, that when you're sharing stories from your company and from your own knowledge, you are getting closer to people who can actually benefit from your experience and your product. I know that you also saw some things in the LinkedIn findings on the B2B trends that caught your eye, but maybe not surprised you. Would you like to share some of that?
Yeah, Teddy, first of all, thanks that you pointed out that these are not really revelations for us. It's something that we speak about a lot during the years, I would say. First of all, I'm really happy that this report doesn't start with the importance of AI, because it's something that we are, yeah, a bit. We got too much of it, of course. AI is here to stay, and we know that, so we don't need reporting data for that. But what stands out, and actually even more in the AI era, the human connections are becoming more important and something to focus on and make it deeper. And actually, LinkedIn shows that also with their ad formats. And the more and more focus they put on thought leadership ads. This is the type of ad that promotes personal content. Before that type of content, that type of ad format, only pages could promote content, and now there is the opportunity for not even only employees, but every profile, every person on the network to promote their content, which is actually great, and it shows really the true importance of the credibility one has when decisions are made. Actually, there are some interesting data. I'm going just to see it for the numbers, which supports what we said, and it concerns the funnel of decision makers when in relation to uh, thought leadership. And it says that in early awareness, nearly 6 in 10 buyers say that they discover a certain brand from a person's content, which is interesting. But what we see down the funnel during the consideration phase, about two-thirds say that creator perspectives help them evaluate options and separate real solutions from noise. So we see here again that messages coming not from the company but from people related to it are what makes the difference. And in the decision phase, which is apparently the most important one, just before taking the decision for buying a product or a service, doesn't matter. Nearly half report that they visit the website only after they have engaged with creator content, and they have already said, they have already decided that this person has something to offer them in relation to the company. So all this data suggests and only supports our advice, as you said, that personal presence is very, very important.
Yes, indeed. But very often I feel that we are kind of drowning in a wave of personal presence. And as again, I'm gonna go back to another report from LinkedIn, this time about the labor market, that said that one of the greatest shifts in the labor market, according to LinkedIn and their reporting, is that more and more people are adding themselves as either a co-founder or a creator as a job on LinkedIn. Now, in that sort of a shift, dynamic shift, we are in a way have to we are compelled to try and distinguish ourselves as creators and as voices, and in turn try and find those voices that are interesting to us. Now, something very interesting is happening that is concerning the distinction between influencers and creators, because those are do not seem to be the same as if now. Maybe a couple of years ago it wasn't like that. There wasn't distinction, a clear distinction between what is to be influencer and what is to be a creator. Nowadays we are seeing that as influencers quite often are described as people who are leveraging something that might be influence, might be resources from being seen in the public eye. They're leveraging this in order to promote, whether this is a product, whether it is a company or an opinion. Now, creators, on the other side, are what the name suggests, but not only when it comes down to content. They are striving to create a community that is stable, but is situated around maybe some philosophy, maybe some views in business, maybe even a company. We are seeing a lot of corporate ideologies just being embodied in a very strong community that supports both the products of that company, but also what that company stands for, meaning the practices, the policies that they promote. So this distinction for me is very, very interesting in a way that maybe it can help us as marketers to be able to distinguish who we should approach when we are thinking of working with influential thought leaders on LinkedIn, but also as LinkedIn users. Because I don't know about you, but I really sometimes feel quite overwhelmed by all the information that we get on LinkedIn. I have spoken about this at length, that I am trying really hard to keep my LinkedIn community as pure from um, negativity and also disinformation, and people who more or less, and I don't want to offend anyone, more or less are not expressing their own opinions but copy pasting something that an AI generated text, something that they don't stand up for. Have you felt like this? Like, do you have a different approach on the subject?
Uh, I think that most people I communicate with have that problem because we are apparently having the whole universe in our pocket with the smartphones and the social media, not only LinkedIn, but any other. There's just so much noise, and it's a matter of hygiene, I would say, in order to protect yourself and your mental health from that noise, and actually to go deeper in what you're actually interested in what is important for you, for your professional path, for your personal development, even. And that's a very important topic, I would say. And this week I wrote an article about it. It's about the LinkedIn fatigue, something that it's not really a term, but why not? um,
We
I
can make it. We can make a trend.
We can make a trend, yeah, and it might look strange that LinkedIn marketers are speaking of a post from LinkedIn, but really here we speak about something more. We speak about using the platform in a wise way, because as any social uh, media, LinkedIn is trying to buy our attention, and that's great in a way, but in another way, it's not, because it can take from our attention and from our time which we can dedicate to something meaningful. For example, recently they announced the widget, something that is, yeah, it was in a way a logical step for them to make a widget for your mobile device that is showing the feed even without you enter the app. And personally, I shared on my profile that that's insane. And it's another step towards making things easier and easier, and content pouring into our heads even without we make that big effort of entering the app. So for me personally, it's important to have some plan about avoiding this fatigue, because after all, of course, LinkedIn is extremely important, not only useful but important place for you to be if you want to develop your career and even as a person. So in my article, which you can read, I think our dear colleague Dari has left it in the comments. Now, I have suggested several tips, and just a couple of them here. For example, actually, what is LinkedIn fatigue? It's the great tiredness of being overloaded with content from LinkedIn. So, yes, your presence is important, but how do you not get tired of posting on LinkedIn? The simplest answer is planning. Make a content calendar, choose several topics that you want to speak about, and prepare content in advance. Of course, there can be some minor details that you can add, but if you have prepared them in advance, there would be days that you don't have to put 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour in making a publication. So that's one advice. And maybe just one more. Sometimes people are taking too many roles on LinkedIn. They try to be thought leaders, they try to be a salesperson, yeah, a CEO, and yeah, whatever. And it's just too much. Focus on one role. And as I mentioned seconds ago, maybe two or maximum three topics that you speak about on the network. And that would help you just narrow the focus. Do you have any advice? How do you protect yourself?
I think that being pressuring yourself, pressuring yourself to make content, to produce it all the time, every day, in different varieties of topics. This is sort of an emotional labor that we do not know that we're putting on us, up until the point where you realize that it's no longer fun. I have always maintained this in my contacts with people who I advise, who we are speaking as consultants with. It needs to be fun. It is work, but you have to find a way to make it Make it feel like yourself, like you are in LinkedIn. The moment when your audience knows that they are speaking to a real person, and that person they can meet both in a conference room but also in a networking event, and they will speak in the same way as they are writing on LinkedIn, this is where you have tapped into what is the most important part of content creation and thought leadership on LinkedIn. People, they want to see what they are in real life, they want to see what they are seeing on LinkedIn, and vice versa. And the biggest let's say heartbreaks, if we can use that term in a professional setting, they are happening when you have admired someone on LinkedIn for the way they are creating their content, for their opinions, and then you meet them in real life, and the difference is staggering because you feel as you have been cheated. And I think this is why a lot of people say that you meet very fake people on LinkedIn, because very often in real life they are not like that. I, however, have a very different experience, um, because maybe because I am a lot more selective, but I am often astonished that people who are very silent, very low profile on LinkedIn are incredibly interested and interesting in real life. And this is why I'm always preaching storytelling, and I'm always saying, please create content. But I do realize that it's a lot of work. And really, as you said, planning is the only way that you can actually combat this feeling of I need to do something, but I can't schedule it in my day. Even if I have the time, I don't have the resilience, the emotional drive to sit and actually do it. And if you push yourself to do it when you don't want to do it, we know that this leads to burnout. So I think this advice that you gave is really good. And also choosing your topics, choosing your role, and how you want to present yourself is also very important because it gives you direction. And it is very, very important to know what you want to achieve and build the road to actually reach your destination, instead of just aiming in every direction and hoping that something will hit and something will stick.
Yeah, and sometimes I hear people that I consult that they don't find the network interesting. They see the same people, and I always say to them that that's because they have made that network be that way. So try to expand your network with the right people. Right, meaning those that are creating content resonating with you from your industry, with your topics of interest, etc. And this way, your feed will be much more interesting. Also, if there are people that are overdoing and they create certain content that is of interest, but too much of it, you can always mute them. And that doesn't mean you unfollow them or remove a connection. You just um, show the algorithm that it's too much, and be sure that will be noticed.
Yeah, this is actually something that I have done in the past, and I'm not sorry about it, and I will not be apologizing. But when it comes down to creating content, very often this is the most frequent question that we get. How do I distinguish what to talk about on LinkedIn? I think this is what drives a lot of people to being very silent on LinkedIn, because they are constantly doubting if what they want to say belongs on LinkedIn. So, what would your advice be? on people who are asking, as they have done in our previous episodes, like how do you select the content for LinkedIn?
Yeah, thanks for bringing this topic up, because it's something we are being asked a lot, and actually the answer is simple. Whatever your professional area is, it is appropriate for LinkedIn. Even if you are actually you don't have to be a CEO or some C-level person in a company. You don't need to be in the IT sphere or a marketer. Whatever you're doing, it's worth it, and it's worth it speaking about it. So even if you are working in a restaurant, for example, because we don't see so much content, that's why I'm giving it as an example. Even better, there is some empty niche, a blue ocean for you to speak about that topic. So whatever is your main topic of development, personal, professional, it's appropriate for LinkedIn. What is not appropriate is to um, be on the surface of that topic. So try to speak about it, but with some insights, with things you've learned on your path, with news about it, and gradually people will start seeing you as sort of thought leader in that sphere. So I wouldn't say that there is a topic that you shouldn't speak about if it's what you do, even politics, that dirty word.
Yeah. Politics is a dividing subject on LinkedIn. A lot of people are against speaking about politics. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is actually something that belongs on LinkedIn." I personally enjoy when people talk about causes in addition to their professional field and professional thoughts. I think this brings a very, very nice touch, a human touch, to who we are as professionals. And also, I am incredibly interested in times where people who I know as professionals or I have followed as thought leaders, when they share glimpses of their normal day and what they're doing in their normal, let's say, life. What I mean by that is that very often we think of LinkedIn posts as these glossy, almost magazine spread like content pieces, but very often the most interesting parts of a professional's life is the things that we don't often see. How you're getting ready for a meeting, the 5 minutes before a live when you're just dashing around looking for the proper, let's say, microphone stand. Something that happened this morning with me. Those are the things that level us as professionals to the ground of humans with flaws. And you, a couple of years ago, I think you started off the year with an article about vulnerability and how it is very important to show it on LinkedIn. That was, I think it was right after the pandemic when we started to talk about professionals on LinkedIn as humans who are using LinkedIn. And funnily enough, but I went back to this article a couple of weeks ago because it still seems to be very, very relevant.
Yeah, I think it will ever be, not because it's so genius from me, but the topic is and will always be important for us. And thanks for sharing that suggestion and that, I would say, even urge to show what what you do in your real life, not only the glossy version of you, but even the flaws, even the mistakes you've made and the lessons learned. That remember that you might feel ashamed of that, but it can help somebody, even if it's one person. It can help them. Um, so yeah, even if you help one person, it will be worth it.
I really hope that our Ask Us Anything lives are also something that shows us that we are still learning, but we are here to answer any questions, to share our knowledge, even sometimes to give direct advices. So
Yeah,
uh, I don't
that's
know if
our
we
mission.
have any questions.
Hopefully, I'm having a look at questions that I don't see such, but there might be people who are listening to us afterwards, whether the live or in our podcast. So please feel free to email us or leave a comment wherever it's useful. Um, it's easy for you. And we're going to ask your question next time. And maybe for this time, it's enough because we spoke about data, we spoke about mental health, vulnerability. I think the guys in our team won't let us be together next time. Um, but yeah, that's being powerful. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Our next episode is on March 6th, as I see.
Not sure about the date, but it's the first Friday as always.
Yeah. Let's see what the guys will come up to combat our episode and see who gets more more likes and more listens. Not that
Yeah,
it's competition, but still.
actually, in March, we're also starting the Linked Academy. So if you have reached these last minutes of this episode, thank you so much. And feel free to visit our LinkedIn page or our website and register for the Linked Academy and learn how to be meaningfully present on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Teddy. It was a pleasure, as always, to speak with you. And have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.